Well, it's a long story, but I'll try to give you the short version. I mean, I've always been very interested in pop music and a huge Beatles fan since I was, 2 years old or something. And it started very early for me that I was interested in reading about music, reading, background stories and biographies and how did they do this and how did they do that. And in the late 1980s, I read a book called The Complete Beatles Recording Sessions by an author called Mark Lewison, which was kind of like a diary of how they recorded all the Beatles songs and when they recorded them. And it was very interesting. It was, it was facts, but it was presented in an interesting way. And I thought, wow, it would be great to do something like that. And I thought, well, I could do a book like that about ABBA, because now we're in the early 90s and the ABBA revival hasn't started yet. And there was nothing really written about them that was in depth. And I thought that was so strange, because even the people who didn't like ABBA kind of recognized that they were fantastic in the studio, that they did great recordings. Everything was perfectly arranged and the production was really groundbreaking and really modern and inventive and all that. So I thought, here's something I could do. So I just took a deep breath and I started doing lots of research. And after I'd done research for like 6 months or something, I contacted their sound engineer, Michael B. Tretto, and said, could I interview about this? And he said, oh yeah, sure, because he's the kind of guy who's interested in that kind of thing. So I interviewed him twice, 2 90-minute interviews. So that was 3 hours of interviews with him, and it went really well. He was impressed by my knowledge and things like that. And then I found out afterwards that he had put in a good word for me with Bjorn and Benny, and said, you got to talk to this guy, he knows everything, he knows more than we do. And so when I approached them and said, could I, possibly have an interview with you? They said, yeah, sure.